right, guys, welcome back to the VanNoisSeur Podcast. That's right, we do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern here on StrangerPalooza. We're all about exploring Class B RVs, overlanding, and van life culture. Welcome back to the show. My guest today is Rob Rizzo, who is a Coachmen Beyond owner, YouTuber, metal detectorist, a lot of things, a lot of cool things.
Hank, I am so impressed because people call us metal detectors.
Oh, okay.
And you somehow know the proper name, a metal detectorist. Thank
yes,
you.
I've watched, because I have watched that BBC TV show.
Awesome show.
I love it. I'm such a fan. I don't know if they're still doing it. I think they had a couple seasons, but it was great.
They did 3 seasons. We're talking about this British show about these two guys that are buddies that are detectorists, metal detectors.
Yeah.
And they did a Christmas special this last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I need to go look that up. I can't remember whether or not I saw that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not sure. I think it's only available pay-per-view right now. But the guy who directed this series we're talking about, I believe his name is Mackenzie Crook, and he's one of the 2 guys in the show, the skinny guy.
Oh, okay. He's from Pirates of the Caribbean.
You got it. He was the guy whose eyeball was always falling out.
Yeah. The guy said, "Puppet. Oh, my puppet."
Very talented.
Yeah, we're getting way deep into the weeds here. So let's start out this way. So why don't you explain to the folks out there, tell them, a little bit about yourself, who you are, how you came to be a Class B guy, and specifically owning a Coachmen Beyond.
Well, okay, let me tell you. It all started with that guy. I guess I got to point that way.
Oh, wait.
So,
me?
With
No.
you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I actually retired last April, and oh gosh, about 6 months prior to that, don't ask me how or why, but the wife and I started to think, we might, as part of retirement, want to buy an RV. And it didn't take us long. We kind of wanted something on the smaller side. So, hey, probably like many people, watching this thing, we hopped on the internet and I started watching YouTube videos, and yours truly over here was one of the...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing.
Oh, my gosh. And Hank, I don't know if you remember this or not, okay? But there was a video you and Nick Schmidt made, okay? Shortly after you bought yours, and Nick said, by the way, if anybody watching this Hank Strange video decides to buy a van, let me know, and I will buy you tickets to Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Did you ever get Disney tickets?
Well, they've been promised, but I do not have them yet.
Oh, okay. Eventually.
Nick, if you're watching, Nick.
Yeah,
but,
we got to catch up to Nick at the next owners meeting.
Exactly, but no. So we looked around and started at the top of the funnel and looked at a variety of manufacturers, makes, and for several reasons, we quickly settled on Coachmen.
Okay.
And the Beyond, and then it was a matter of which configuration and so on. So we've been in the hashtag van life now for over a year. We've got about 25,000 miles.
Wow.
On our Coachmen Beyond, and
that's pretty good.
I'll just say, we benefited so much from some of those videos to help us. This, as strange as it sounds, we tell people sometimes, they say, well, did you test drive the Beyond and other vehicles? And remember, this was for us, this was during COVID.
Right.
So there were no vehicles available to test drive. So we actually did all our research up front, and we bought this thing sight unseen.
Oh, wow. Believe it. Where are you guys based?
So we live in Wisconsin. Okay, we are between the cities of Milwaukee and Madison. And we did purchase from Sunshine State RV for a variety of reasons, and couldn't be happier. So as we speak, we're getting ready to just head out for another 30-day trip.
Okay, cool. So, you know what? I mean, I'd like to talk about where you guys are going, but maybe for the folks out there, until we get some questions, and I encourage you guys to ask us questions. We're happy to take your questions here. If you're considering owning a Class B, it doesn't have to be from Coachmen, doesn't have to be the Beyond, We'll be happy to answer in any way that we can. Dr. Dude says, laugh out loud. It's funny seeing Hank surprised. He's the reason that Bob got into it. Yeah, that's funny to me. I mean, I guess it's weird, right? Doing what I do. I've done this for a long time. I've done the van thing for a couple of years, and I do meet people who tell me that, but it's always embarrassing to me, to be honest with you. It makes me a little uncomfortable, and it also because I feel so much responsibility, and that's why I try to run the channel the way that I do, because I know that it's so much money. It's like a big part of folks out there, their life savings to do this and get into it. So,
oh my gosh, isn't that the truth? And in some ways, I think that in some ways it's like buying a car, but in many ways it's very different because, you think about it, there are some established dealers, a lot more information. There are a lot more varieties of vans than there are autos you can buy. And so it can be daunting. And so I think what helped Amy and I, my wife Amy and I, is that...
Shout out to Amy. She's awesome.
She is awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
But we kind of learn from others. We learn from Hank. We learn from other people watching videos, commenting. That you have to. A lot of things go into the purchase decision. One of which was what kind of RV lifestyle do we want? What kind of traveling style are we going to kind of drive to some place and park it for a couple of months? Or are we going to zip around? And but all of that information on YouTube helped us figure out first, what kind of lifestyle and vehicle best suit our needs. And then, we looked at, we shortened it down to a list of about 2 or 3, right away. But we would have been happy with some others, but we were real happy with the Coachmen Beyond.
What else was on your list? I'm just
we
curious.
Looked at Pleasure Way
up
in Canada, pretty good marks on quality. We looked at American Patriot.
Okay.
But actually, I started out looking at manufacturers, and what I realized, I think again from one of your videos, or maybe Live Small, Go Large. No.
Yes.
I'm getting it wrong.
Scott. Yeah, you got it.
Scott's video.
Yeah.
It was almost better for us to decide what chassis we wanted first.
Right.
And because at the time, I mean, they've kind of closed the gaps a little bit since then, but there were some huge differences. And so once we decided, and I actually thought I wanted a Mercedes, and then realized for us, the Ford Transit was a better fit. And then that kind of led me to certain manufacturers and certain configurations. But I like the fact that the Class B is more nimble, it's more agile. You can almost travel in stealth mode a little bit, and we're, of course, we have adult children and grandchildren, but they don't come with us necessarily on these trips.
Okay. All right, cool. Let me get to, there is a question here from Don Archer, so let's get to that. Dan Archer. He says, when are you going to do a comparison between a Coachmen Beyond RB, rear bath, and a Travado K? Which is the better value and quality? Okay, I think that's a good idea. We should probably do something like that. I've got to figure out exactly, the logistics of making that happen. So I do a lot of stuff with Sunshine State RV, and they have to have both of those vans there at the same time. So I will definitely put that into the idea book. Do you have any thoughts on that, Rob?
Yeah, it was interesting. It's funny, at first we thought we wanted a Travado, and I'm open-minded. We had a very good friend who bought one about a month before us, and again, it depends on who you're traveling with, how you're traveling with. He was a solo traveler, and for him it worked better where the bath and so on was, but that Travado was on a Ram chassis, and at the time the Rams did not offer all the same safety features that the Transit did, and it was a little, some people would say, underpowered. Okay. But again, I think they change every year, and I know Dodge updated their chassis, but doesn't surprise me. He's looking at those too, Hank.
Yeah, I think they are good choices. I would say that the Ram is a little, less horsepower and stuff like that than the Beyond. but the Ram is still more horsepower than the Sprinter van. There's,
Mm-hmm.
now the Ram's front wheel drive, and Sprinters used to be rear wheel drive unless you got 4x4. Now you can get either rear wheel drive or all wheel drive, which is good.
Sure.
So, but and then the other thing I think with the Ram is it is a little bit smaller than the Beyond. It's also, I think, the widest one out of the 3 chassis. So for me, it came down to my legs are a little bit longer, and I've thought about actually, getting a Travato. I've considered that. Even just as a YouTuber, I really love the Beyond. I really, I'm into the Transit chassis, but I thought, you know what, I need to go live with a Ram chassis, let's say, right? And I considered maybe I'll go get a Travato and see how that is. But the leg room, I think, would just bother me because I like driving long distance, and it's actually relatively comfortable and easy to drive until you're going long distance and you're trying to figure out where to put your legs.
Yeah.
So
he brings up the other good point too about now
Mm-hmm.
which configuration inside,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no right or wrong, as you said. It's a matter of preference, but
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
difference between the rear bath
Mm-hmm.
versus the other configurations. You have multiple tanks. You have to
Yeah.
empty, of course, different locations. I'll tell you one thing I was surprised at, Hank, that I didn't think about when I made my purchase.
Okay.
Is just serviceability.
Okay.
And I thought, well, of course there are going to be more Ford dealerships than, for example, Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
But I quickly realized, not every Ford dealership, and by the way, not every Mercedes dealership
Mm-hmm.
has the equipment, the lifts available to service these heavy vehicles. So, I mean, I don't know if I would base my purchase decision solely on that, but you certainly want to understand. I mean, I have to drive a bit of a distance to find a place, a commercial Ford dealership
Mm-hmm.
that can raise my van to rotate the tires and so on.
Okay, so this is a really good comment. I knew we would not have any kind of issues coming up with stuff, and I do want to answer this because I hear what you're saying from a lot of people. So here's a big thing about the service that I've come to realize. If you are a Ford dealership, if you're a Mercedes dealership and you've got Sprinters, even if you don't, if you're a Ram dealership, all of those dealerships are supposed to have the lifts to lift those vans, period. Now, the reason why they say they don't have the lifts is because they don't want to do it. So I've been through that same thing with my van with Ford. Let's say I live just outside of Gainesville, but I've called up the Ford dealership, and either they'll want you to wait a long time, you have to actually leave the van there, or some dealerships will say, oh, we don't have the lift. And then there's a dealership in a town not far from me as well called Chiefland, kind of country type of area, very nice place. And those guys, you call them up, you could go in there the next day, they have the lift. And when I talk to them, they say that's just something that these dealerships say because they don't want to deal with these vans.
Yeah.
And I found that to be true in a lot of ways.
It might, I don't know. You might be right from a dealership perspective, but I had, I was alarmed. I'm in a group, a Facebook group of similar Coachmen owners. Now, these could be Sprinters, vans on the Ram chassis, or the Transit. And somebody went into a shop. It was not a Ford shop, and their van was up on a lift, and
it fell off.
It fell off. Now, thank God, no one was hurt. And again, that was not a dealership. That was probably a mom and pop's thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I can just tell you whether they're giving me a line or not. Just knowing, hey, do I have some place in my vicinity, where I can get the service? I didn't really think about that when I made my purchase.
Yeah, it's a good point, and people can remedy that before they buy by calling up the dealership and seeing what they say. Now, I'm not telling folks this to tell the dealership, no, you could do this. If they don't want to do it, don't take your van to them. That's my personal opinion. If for whatever reason they don't want to deal with you, there was an issue I had, and I had to go to the Gainesville dealership, and they're nice enough folks, but there was something that only they could fix. It was a real simple part on the big sliding door, and they made me wait there for like 3 or 4 hours over the time I really should have, because the guy working on it didn't like the fact that it was an RV. And he was like, oh, well, to go in there and change that part on the door, I've got to go through stuff that the builder made. And the service guy was telling me, I was like, okay, if you guys want, I'll go back there and open that thing up myself just to make this go fast. Of course, they won't let you do that. But a lot of times it just comes down to people's desire. And here's my thing. If you don't want to work on something, I don't want you to do it either.
Great point. And I mean, most of the people watching this now or later, I mean, they're on social media. So, I mean, my suggestion is take advantage of crowdsourcing. Ask your friends, regional people, hey, where do you get your vehicle service, both in terms of the coach side, but also the chassis side. I'll just tell you one other little interesting thing. We've been very pleased with this dealership I'm talking about, but I just took it in to have the oil changed, and Ford has this package called the Works package, where they do a general inspection. They also rotate your tires. And some of you may know the Transit has the Ford Transit, Coachmen Transit has dually wheels on the back.
Yep.
Okay. You have 4 wheels on the back. And I left the dealership, got home, and just don't ask me why, I happened to be looking at something on my rim, and the 2 stems from the inside and the outside tire, they did not align. You know, they should line up. So if you needed to inflate a tire or something, you can have access to it. When they rotated the tires, they did not rotate them back to the point where the valve stems.
Oh,
right.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and I mean,
did you do a video? Did you do a video of this on your YouTube channel? I hope you did, because I would really actually like to see this now. Yes.
I have 2 videos coming. Okay, that's one, and the other's going to deal with this really high-tech topic of replacing your cabin air filter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Which sounds simple, but is it? Yes.
No, one of my highest. It's one of the funniest things is, you know, it's always amazing what kind of videos get more views than others, you know. And we did one video just on the Ford Transit has this safety feature where if you rotate either one of the front seats and start your vehicle, you're in park, of course, right?
Yep.
This annoying chime goes off.
Yeah.
Because they think you're going to drive the vehicle.
Like that. Yeah. There are people who would do it. Yes.
Probably. Not saying anybody watching this podcast. But we asked some folks, hey, how did you turn this off? So I did a little video on that.
Oh, cool.
And that's really popped.
Yeah. And if you guys want to watch Rob's channel, it's called Beyond the Adventure, right? On YouTube. Beyond the Adventure. So I'll try to show that here. We've got a couple of minutes. Let me see if I can hit some comments and questions real quick. Carla Daniels says, Lola, I received my shirt. Thank you. I will be wearing it at the Hershey Park RV Show, September 16th. Thank you for me as well. Look, I'm wearing a VanNoisSeur shirt. You can get that right here. Support us on the channel. I know, selfish plug. And let's see if we can actually get to this one. On the Go with Greg Savage. Gives us a bunch of thumbs ups. Thank you. Everyone out there, smash those thumbs ups. He says, metal detectors used to be a bunch of old guys on the beach, but it has progressed into amazing genre, which I will learn as a future Class B'er. I will be in addition to the adventure. So there you go. Okay, congratulations. Yeah, it's everything's changing, right?
Well, the technology in that field is changed as well. But what I find for me, it's just a wonderful hobby that goes along actually with the RV life, because, you know, the RV takes you to a variety of places. And what we really like to do, we'll often visit historic locations, beaches, and the metal detector I happen to use is like one of the lightest, most portable on the market. And you know, some may wonder, well, what do you do with this stuff you find? You know, there's actually a service where people can call and say, hey, I've lost my necklace, my ring. So oftentimes we return things, you know, to people that lost them, or we give the things we find back to homeowners, or we donate it. I got permission to metal detect at, if any of you remember the Little House on the Prairie TV series. This was the Laura Ingalls Wilder homestead up in Wisconsin, and my myself and my friends that detected the property, we recovered a bunch of really old, cool stuff that is from the Ingalls family that's now in the museum up there. So
Oh,
it's a fun hobby. Fits it fits the RV life as well.
yeah, very cool. All right, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a break. So as you guys might have already heard, Lola and myself are brand ambassadors for Sunshine State RV. And as VanNoisSeurs, I want to take this moment to encourage anyone who is in the market for a Class B van to start their journey with SSRV.
Sunshine State RVs specializes in selling Class B vans and B plus RVs. That is the reason why they are the #1 dealer in all of the state of Florida.
Number 3 in the whole United States.
SSRV will fly you right to their location in Gainesville, Florida. They'll give you a very detailed and thorough walkthrough of your van, and they'll give you a 2-night stay at a local campground so you can get used to your van. If you don't like that, you can actually have hands-free delivery anywhere in the United States of your RV.
We bought our Coachmen Beyond from Sunshine State RV 2 years ago. And over the past 2 years, we've seen how they treat customers when it comes to warranty side. Their service team is great. Whether you bought it from them or not, every person that comes in there gets the same service and care when it comes to warranty repairs. The same service, attention, and care. And their team does a great job getting you back on the road safely.
So if you guys are in the market for a B or B plus van, consider Sunshine State RV. We've got a link in the description that you guys can use to see their current inventory and have someone get in touch with you. All right, we are back. Let me get to you. You got that right at the end there, Rob. Right at the end on the countdown. I was like, oh. So yeah, we're definitely going to talk about being a metal detectorist, or I know this is going to be wrong. Is it therefore called metal detectoring?
Metal detecting.
Metal detecting. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that would be the name of the hobby, and like anything, it could be biking or whatever. There's a very active community. Many places have local clubs you can join. It can be a solitary thing you do, or you can do it with others. There are even metal detecting holidays. People organize trips to historic locations where you can go and have both a normal vacation, but also do some detecting of some pretty old historical properties as well.
Yeah, it's a very cool hobby, and it's interesting to see all the different things that people do with their. I think you don't only do this with your van because you travel all over the world and do this, but I'm sure you also go out there with your van when you're just out. Anything that you guys are getting up to, I'm sure you're out there swinging a wand, looking for stuff. I've seen you do it.
Yeah, in fact, you and I were at a rally this past year where after this rally in Florida, Amy and I left and we drove up to North Carolina, and we attended a 4-day event, where we were metal detecting old cotton plantations, historic farms, and of course we stayed in the beyond, which we loved. But I've also traveled overseas. I've been to England a few times. I'm heading back there again this fall. But you don't have to do that kind of stuff. You can go to your local park. The laws vary all over the place in terms of
I'm popping in some pictures of things you found out there, by the way, since we're talking about it and we're in it now, right?
So what you're looking at here is a collection of finds from a 10-day trip I made to the town of Colchester, England. This happens to be the oldest city in Britain. So this is the area where the Vikings entered. Celtic tribes lived. The Romans traveled that area. This coin in the middle with the cross is a 1279 silver hammered coin.
Wow.
And if any of you guys ever watched the movie Braveheart, the English king who fought William Wallace in Scotland, he's on the other side of this. His name was Edward Longshanks. But you find a variety of things, many of which, like these things, are old, but you also can, go to a park and find, just a ring that somebody dropped last week. This is actually really interesting right here. Perhaps as children, you might have heard pirates talk about in the movies Pieces of 8.
Yes.
Or, we heard those songs, 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits a dollar. Well, what they're talking about is what you see here. Before we were even a country and we minted our own coins, people would bring their coins from their native homeland. It might be Spain, France, England, and they would score those coins. They would cut them and break them into bits. into pieces. And this is a 1721. It's 1/8, one bit of a 1721 Spanish real that I actually found on a cotton field in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you found gold.
Oh my gosh. And this, folks, is not normal. People have been doing this for 30 years, have never found a gold coin. This is a gold hammered coin from 1604. It's a James the First coin. So the individual who financed the people that landed in Jamestown, Virginia, that was James the First, and this was a coin that he minted.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. And it's true, a long time before, because we didn't have folding money, right? You didn't have bills and stuff like that in the beginning. So if you had to make change, you had to literally make change, break it off.
Yeah, and to tell you, not far from where you are, on down near Vero Beach, in that area, they often refer to that as the Treasure Coast. There are, several sunken Spanish galleons that to this day, after the hurricanes come in and stuff like that, people like me are out there on the beaches, and they still find Spanish coins from these ships that were sunken in the 1700s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool hobby, and I know you have a YouTube channel where you talk about this as well. Do you want to let the guys out there know about that before we go on to other stuff?
Sure. So if you can remember the History Channel, the name of my channel is The History Digger. And, this is channel's probably about 3-4 years old, and very similar to what you do, Hank. I mean, I have some instructional videos, but some are little snippets of my metal detecting adventures, and I donate all the profits from that channel to the Wounded Warriors Project.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So let's see. Dan Archer had asked, is not the Beyond Rare Bath a Ford Transit? Yes, it is Ford Transit. It's the best one. It's the one I own. So, and especially if you're a big dude like me and you want some move around room in your bathroom.
But Hank, if you couldn't buy the rear bath, it's not available. Okay. What would have been your second configuration, at least within the Beyond? And I don't know if folks know about the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's some different ones. Okay.
You've got the C and the dual beds, the D, I think they call it.
Is it the D that's the dual beds? Because that's similar to what I have, except there's a side bath. And then the C I think is a side bath, but a bed in the back, right? Yeah.
With a bed that goes up and down, and what would have been your second choice?
Oh, so if we're in transit, oh my gosh, I think I would have probably gone for the C then. Just that big bed back there, left it permanent, and then maybe just had, because I think a lot of people do storage underneath that. I would have probably done that if I was just sticking to transit. What's yours?
Yeah, because I think the amount of storage across those different configurations that you eventually get, it's different. And of course, I didn't know that at the time, but I probably would have gone with the D.
Okay.
Where you have the two beds, going this way. But of course, the other thing, the storage is always what we were after. How can we eke out some extra storage? We put some boxes on the back of the van and stuff like that. But I would have kind of looked at all three of those a little differently. I would have looked at them through the lens of which one gives you just a few more cubic feet of space than the others. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. So and this doesn't exist, but what I would love to see, so let me explain it this way: on the Galleria line, which is the Sprinter, right? My favorite is the 24A, I think it's called, and that's the one that has the permanent bed in the back, and it has like that storage built in the back, right? I think that's the 24A. I might be mixing those up. If you could get that in a Beyond, that would be amazing to me. Like permanent bed, storage under there, I think. The side bath is so tough. I don't think I would like a side bath would be useful to me. And I got lucky. I found a rare. I wanted a transit, and I found it in a rare bath, and I think that's my favorite. Unless we somehow figure out how to put something else. I don't know. Slide out bathroom maybe.
Yeah. I was talking to another Class B person, and we were talking about videos and stuff. And of course, for us, a lot of our first videos were van should we buy? And then
Mm-hmm.
we bought one. And how do I do this on that van?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a variety of videos of, how do I modify my van and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoy the videos that are more about RV life.
Yeah.
And you do these as well. I like these, but
Mm-hmm.
like, here are some hacks we've developed while we're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an example. We've picked this up from somebody else, but we have an Anytime Fitness membership, a gym membership, which is wonderful. And occasionally we actually use it to go and work out, but we really use it for the showers.
Mm-hmm. I've heard this.
So
I've heard a lot of people do. Is it Anytime Fitness?
Anytime Fitness, and
Mm-hmm.
you get a little fob that
Mm-hmm.
gives you entry to these facilities. They're open 24/7, and they have very nice, clean showers in there. So regardless of whether your bath is in the back, the side,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, you have limited water in those things.
Yeah.
And occasionally, it's nice to take that long shower, right?
Mm-hmm. It is.
But
Oh.
I like those videos as well, where people
Mm-hmm.
are just sharing. It's less about the vehicle
Mm-hmm.
and more about the lifestyle too. So if you once if I know people watching this, some have bought vehicles, some haven't,
Mm-hmm.
but pay attention to those other videos beyond just vehicle choices as well.
Yeah, you have to think about how you're going to live with the van. Like I think you said that earlier. And for me, one of the things I've had Crohn's disease since I was about 24, 25 years old. So what that's done is that, when I need to use that bathroom, I need to use the bathroom. So, and I found myself, really appreciating the fact that I have a rear bath when I've been on a lonely road somewhere where there's nothing but road for miles in front of me, miles ahead of me, and I could use it. But I do understand on the flip side of that, there's folks who don't even use that bathroom. They use hacks like you're saying with the gym. There's trucker stops. There's all kinds of things that you can do. Lola and I recently got the geyser. You know what that is?
I do not.
So it's this device that boils water, or you could put there's two of them. You can heat up your own water and put it in it, or it boils the water for you and gets it to the right temperature, and then you can use it to take a sponge bath. So you save water by using that, but you can still get a nice sponge bath, soap up, and wash yourself off and all that, wash your hair and everything. You can even use it to wash your dishes, and it helps you conserve water. As you mentioned, water is a big deal when you're traveling in these things because you're limited in that, right? So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's where I really value social media, because before you think of all the things you need to equip
mm-hmm.
your RV,
Mm-hmm.
and all the choices in terms of chairs and coffee pots and filtration systems and so on. And there's no one right thing of anything. But boy, talking to folks online really
Mm-hmm.
helped us find what was right for us that much faster.
Yeah, I actually have the geyser right here. That's why I was making noise. Check this out.
Oh my gosh!
I haven't even opened it yet, but we recently bought it. So here's the sponge right here. This is the sponge, and so this will actually pump it out. This particular one heats up the water and all that kind of stuff. It's not that big, so I mean, it's got a good size on it, but you can store it away. It's called Geyser Hot Portable Shower. Haven't used it yet, so we don't have any kind of like relationship with them or anything, but I wanted to check that out based on what you were talking about here.
And
So.
it has a power source that heats up electrically.
Yeah, you can you can plug it
Okay.
into a battery pack or whatever
Gotcha.
it is that you have. Yeah, or if you have
will-
if you have a different way, you can actually. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd have to power this anyway to pump the water out, but everyone's got some different thing for power.
I love it. I'm looking forward to watching the video on that. We will
Yeah.
sometimes, depending on the type of trip, length of trip, we'll travel with it is a solar shower.
Okay.
So it's basically like a vinyl bag that rolls up. Okay, it's about this thick, and it unfolds. But you fill it up. I think it holds, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 gallons of water. You hang it up during the day, and when you come back in the evening, you're going to hang it on a tree at your campsite, maybe even on the outside of the van. But it's quite warm, and it's all gravity fed. But if anybody camps, they'll know what I'm talking about. You could find these in any camping store, but it's something, if you're doing some remote camping, we'll occasionally take with us.
Yeah, so something like this, right? One of these.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. There's so many different things that you can do to make this happen. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Check out, look at not just my stuff, but please do look at my stuff. But there's lots of folks out there doing things, including Rob himself is doing videos. So that's the thing to do before you get into this. Look at what everyone else is doing, and then ask yourself, okay, am I good with that, or do I want to do, do I want to do something else? And sometimes you'll surprise yourself. You'll think you'll never do that thing, but when you come to realize the convenience of a van, but hey, I might have to make this compromise over here, you actually get used to it and you're fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and we're still learning. We're picking up tips and tricks. We travel with a little portable gazebo that we store in the the side entry door of the Transit has two handles, and we strap this gazebo. It's one of these pop-up, little gazebos that you can get some refuge in if there's too much sun, it's raining, whatever. But we store one of these things. We strap it to the side of the van. It works fine. However, occasionally there's some wind, and this thing comes with, the typical stakes that you pound into the ground. And
Right.
we had a particularly windy storm one time where this thing went toppling, and our good friends Gary and Renee Dunn turned us on to there are these very small bags you can buy. They're very thick, durable. They almost look like the solar showers, quite frankly.
Okay.
But you fill them up with water, and essentially they're anchor bags.
Oh,
You know,
okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and you Velcro these to the poles of whatever, the gazebo, your awning, whatever you're doing. But they're very, you empty the water out,
Yeah.
and they
Easy to store. Yeah. Just basically water weights. That's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get on to some comments here. Let's see. On the go with Greg Savage says, indeed, if it wasn't for Hank and Nick and their eloquence and professionalism, there'd be a lot of unanswered questions. They have helped my choice to sell everything and buy from Nick my next home. Oh, okay, cool. Congratulations. And he goes on to say, yes, I retired from 30 years in motorsports business, and I can't wait to get started. Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like fun. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
and
meet you down there at Sunshine State RV sometime.
And until you do,
Yeah.
you can pull it forward by watching all these fun videos and so on. And I'll tell you, Nick and his crew they're exactly the way you see them on these videos. They're genuine, authentic people. We had a wonderful experience there.
Yeah. So, that leads me to a good question, because when Nick is on, people ask about service, right? And I agree with you. I think Sunshine State RV, good place to go get service. Now, you've been out there on the road. You've put 25,000 miles on your van. Have you ever run into a situation when you're out on the road, let's say you can't get to Sunshine State RV, and you needed to get service from somewhere else?
Actually, I'm pleased to say I have had a minor issue with the Ford. Okay, which Sunshine State really doesn't, do Ford stuff. But we've not had anything like urgent. Oh my gosh, I need to find a place. The only thing we have done other than Sunshine State, which we go to Florida every spring, and I had him do a checkup and stuff like that. We did visit the Coachmen facility, and you do have to schedule appointments there well in advance. They have phenomenal service, but limited.
Yeah.
And we had a very minor issue with a solar panel wire that was faulty. But knock on wood, Hank, we've not had to, but I'm worried about it because I've heard, horror stories galore. People won't service vans if you didn't buy there, that kind of a thing. But we haven't had to deal with any of that yet.
Yeah, I haven't had anything happen so bad that I couldn't, that I immediately had to do it myself either. So yeah, knock on wood, knock on the, there you go.
Well, and I'll say
because that
one
could
other
happen
thing.
to people.
It sure can, and I mean, as good as Sunshine State is, what I also didn't appreciate, but I would consider now if I were buying, is the crowdsource support. What I'm talking about, whether it's a Travado, a niche dealer, or whatever, ask these people, what kind of support group do you have? If I have an issue, can I find someone like me that has my van? Because I'm going to tell you, I've done this. I see people just post a question. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
This light's blinking on my Firefly. I don't know what it means. And within minutes, there are answers on, so Coachman and the Beyond has a very active, positive, friendly community of users who help one another. I
Yep.
don't know if that's the same with other folks, but because I didn't think about that at the time I was buying, it's definitely something I would think about now.
Yeah, search out those Facebook groups or groups, any whatever social media you use. I think the better ones are probably on Facebook at this point. There is one for the Coachmen Beyond, but there's I think there's one for Galleria, for
I think
the
Travato.
Nova, yeah, for Travato, or any Class B van that you have that folks have should be you should be able to find a users group for that. Let's see, we got less than a minute here. Shout out to Russ. Russ Johnson's out there, our buddy. He says,
fellow Wisconsinite.
Yes, there you go. He's awesome. Russ says, Rob, really like the video on your installation of a rear view mirror camera. 30 seconds, Rob, and then we'll take a break.
Okay, the stock cameras that come with the Transits and other vehicles, they're very poor long distance. I installed one. It's essentially an LED screen. Dynamically records 3 hours of video from the front and the back. My favorite modification I've ever done. I love it.
There you go. I agree with that. It's cameras are very necessary. It'd be great to see more of this stuff come with the vans. Hopefully that happens. We're taking a break. Lola and I are now official brand ambassadors for Coachmen Class B. So I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys why we, as VanNoisSeurs, like it says on our t-shirt, are very excited about our partnership with Coachmen Class B.
First off, Coachmen RVs has been a leader to the great outdoors since 1964.
So next is the fact that Coachmen really cares about you as an owner, whether you bought new or used. After you buy your van, they really take care of you.
With Coachmen Class B, you have all the options. Coachmen builds on all 3 van platforms. On the Mercedes Sprinter, it's the Coachmen Galleria. The Ford Transit is the Coachmen Beyond. And Ram ProMaster is the Coachmen Nova.
Lastly, best value for money. We've had our van for 2 years, and Coachmen builds to the highest standards of quality and craftsmanship. You can't go wrong with a Coachmen Class B. So if you're interested, check out the link in our description and find the Coachmen van that's best for you. There you go. We are back. And so I think I'm going to skip ahead. Lola, okay, Lola says, Russ Johnson, hi Russ, give Jane a hug for me. So there you go. And I think Lola says she asked a question here. Oh, here we go. Lola says, has Rob done any mods on his Beyond? I know Amy and him have those big e-bikes. You just spoke about the rear view mirror mod. So any other mods that you've done you want to discuss?
Yes. So so a couple other ones. We've added an outlet. I've added a ladder, prime design ladder on my back, and attached to that is a plastic. It happens to be a Plano gun case that we use to store our electrical cable, our water hoses. Frees up a couple cubic feet of space underneath the van, and also, when we do pull into a site, it allows us to not open our back doors to get the bugs in and so on. We love that. Believe it or not, I travel with a metal detector. Amy is a big quilter and seamstress. She travels with a sewing machine.
Okay, nice. Where does that go?
Well, so speaking of that mod, so we add, I think one of the most modified things, but people modify them in different ways on the Coachmans, is this space behind the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah.
Some people put, I think Russ might have put an extra water tank there. Other people
No, he put that on the other side, but I think a lot.
He did.
You're talking about between the seat and the bathroom. People build closets.
You're right. His is near.
Yeah.
His is near the side door, but I have it behind the driver's seat, and we've seen little doggy beds put there. But I have built some shelving back there, within which Amy slides her sewing machine, and on top of that is where I store all my metal detecting equipment. We have a shelf in the back of the van that allows us to store things. This is behind the bed area.
Did
You
we
know,
feature?
the other
Did we
minor,
feature your van in that video we did? I know you were in that video, and I'm trying to remember because we showed a bunch of vans, and I don't know if we showed this or not for the folks who are out there. But
um, I we may have. I think it was in an older one, and some of
yeah,
these things are really simple, like seat covers
yeah,
or a
yeah,
cushion behind your neck.
yeah. I think you were
Some
talking
are
about the bicycle racks in the video we
So
did.
yeah, the
Yeah.
bicycle. So we have two Rad Runner e-bikes, and if you're,
Mm-hmm.
e-bikes are evolving significantly. Um, but some of the early ones, and even still today, they can be quite heavy. So a normal bike rack may not be able to support the load of two e-bikes. So we searched all over. We found a wonderful product company called Rack Attach by OneUp that offers a swing away bike rack. It both swings away from the back of the van and tilts down and can easily support the weight of our two bikes in a very secure way.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that was an accessory, more of an accessory than a modification,
Mm-hmm.
that we've done. Um, but it's been fun. I mean, and then a whole host of other little things,
Yeah.
little things, baskets. And I had one family member say, "Well, were you a little disappointed that you had to do all this work and add these modifications?" And I said, "Well, actually, no. I kind of appreciate the opportunity to make it my own and customize this stuff. Um, Other people might feel differently, but I've actually enjoyed the ability to tweak this a little bit, and I appreciate Coachmen leaving some of that for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoy that."
Yeah, I would agree with you. It would be great if someone could custom build exactly what you want, which they can. It just might cost you about $100,000 more to get that.
Correct, and in some ways, think
So,
of it like I don't know if any
mhm,
people here have built homes, but
mhm,
oftentimes there's a plan, and then you get to kind of finish it the way you want.
yeah,
But yeah, those have been some of the minor things, and oh gosh, we've changed out the shower nozzle, we've added a different shower curtain, minor
mhm,
stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. We've done a lot of modifications, and I agree with you. I think that like I was saying, the big thing for me here is the rear bath. So yes, there's other things that I wish were somehow better, but I can adapt to that, and you know in the Beyonds, there's three models, so there's no way they're going to make it perfect for everyone. But if you find the bones of that works for you, then you could figure out ways to add all the different things that you want to. What I'm searching for here, that I'm trying to pull up, is some pictures, just recently, of stuff that we've done outside the van. I think I've talked about this before, but I'll share this with you guys. So, for example, if you want to change the way that your van looks, even this is something that I've done lately. We vinyl wrapped our van. So this is our van here.
Beautiful.
It's vinyl wrapped, and then recently I even put the Raptor grill on it. You know, and that's not something that you want every single van to come that way, because you want to individualize and personalize that van to your taste, so that you're different from what everyone else is out there, right?
There's one little minor thing we did that I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely loved, and it's a small aluminum piece you put on your door track that
Mm-hmm.
allows you, you know what I'm talking about here, Hank,
Oh,
to
is it the?
instead of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't, instead of only opening the door all the way, you can stop halfway,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a little thing that you put on with some adhesive and stuff like that I absolutely love. But I will say this, and let me just say, full disclosure, I have no relationship whatsoever with Coachman,
Mm-hmm.
but after we did all our research, I would say the other thing that I saw, the general manager of Coachman, if you're not familiar with him, Nick Recchio, this guy is fanatical about understanding his consumer, about understanding the people that buy his vehicles. And he constantly on these videos was listening and looking for modifications to add in that next thing. So on
Mm-hmm.
one hand, while I appreciate having the ability to tweak and customize some things, every year they have made changes. And I come from the consumer products industry, so I really appreciated somebody who really listened and cared about the customers. And my only regret is every time he, launches his new vehicle, I want to trade in my old one and buy it.
Yes, except the interest rates are high now, so.
And I don't need any more tickets to Disney World. Yeah.
You got to get your first tickets first. And if I remember correctly, Rob, I was also supposed to get tickets and go to Disney World with you. So,
yeah.
Yes, we're going to have to make that happen. We'll listen,
Right.
I'll tell you one thing about Nick Schmidt. He does stick to, to promises that he makes, but it gets so crazy. He gets into so much stuff, but we'll probably make that thing happen. I'll nudge him. I'll remind him. Here's a comment from Kip. I'll get this in here. A question. We are strongly considering ordering a 2024 Coachmen Beyond with the upgraded 1200 amp hour lithium. With over 25,000 miles you have driven, have you had any issues with your batteries?
Well, I know you have a different battery solution than me. Do you want to go first, or?
Oh, you can go for your Li3, right? Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, I respect. There are some people that are happy with the AGM and the generators and everything, but I love the lithium batteries because, first of all, we can get a whole night's air conditioning, out of our configuration, and if that next day our battery is running low, I just have to, turn on that vehicle and, let it idle for a while and it will recharge. Or chances are we're moving anyways. And with just a little bit of time on the road, that thing is recharged. Okay. So I love all of that. Plus I love the fact that, in Wisconsin, during the winter months, if the van is here, I can put this into store mode, let it sit for 90 days. I've had no issues. With it. It has a really cool battery management system that also, if it hits a certain temperature, it knows to shut itself off. I'm talking about when you're charging it. I just have to say, and I'll just say one other thing. Out of all the things I see and read, that maybe people have had issues with, a Firefly issue or an air conditioning issue, I don't know if I've ever even seen on the social media group I'm in anybody have an issue with the lithium battery that comes with the Beyond vans. I'm sure there've been somebody, but I don't.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there have been, in all the vans that are going out there. I think Lithionics is pretty robust. We did a tour with Lithionics there at the factory, and I think it's a really good setup. In my van, I bought it. It had AGMs. It had a generator. I kind of like that. However, what I would say, and I did change them out. So now I don't have those AGMs. I actually have Battleborn batteries in there. We've had Battleborn here on the show as well. I think those are great batteries when you're doing upgrades. They actually come standard with the American Coach vans that are out there, the Battleborn system. And I find that easy to use. Same thing with Lithionics. I think when I look at, like someone was asking about Travado, some of the other battery systems are, I'm not saying they're any less good, it's just they work in a different way, and I like the way that Battleborn, Lithionics, those things work. If I was to buy another van right now, I would not go AGM with generator. I'll tell you guys that right now. I would just go Li3, have my batteries be in there with the second alternator, like you said, it charges up faster, and it's a lot easier to deal with. The generator is cool. Right now, I'm in my van. I'm actually running the generator, but there's more issues with a generator if you get that. I think, and you have to make sure you've got the maintenance going on and all that kind of stuff. So I would just go Li3 like you have.
You don't have to maintain it. And again, the lack of noise. I do have extra space. I've contemplated adding the extra panel, but quite frankly, I haven't needed it. I'll also say, kind of, the other side of this is we were pleasantly surprised. The propane tank that also comes with our configuration, we use that. It's more efficient to use propane for heat, or heating the water tank and stuff like that. And man, I'll tell you what, that lasted far longer than I expected. So I have no regrets. I'm sure for some people, the generator. I mean, listen, there's a cost difference, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big. I think it's maybe 20 grand, something like that.
Yeah. Hopefully that's going to close down, but we've been very pleased with it. And even the electronics that come with the Lithionics, there is an app, that also you can see from your phone the history and run some things for your phone. So, and again, I'm sure others have had some issues, but we've not.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the Brown. Shout out to him. He says, looks like Hank has worn that headset cable out. Yes. Man, you guys can see details. Yes, I do need to buy another headset cable. You are right, sir. Carla Daniels says, can you put a child bunk bed in RV B Plus Ford Transit with the wet bath in the back? Can you put a child bunk bed in the B Plus?
I'll tell you what we did. We do not have the rear bath, okay? But we did take our 7-year-old grandson on one trip, and with any of the Ford vehicles, both of those front seats you can turn them and have them face one another. And we just traveled with a board that was on the shelf behind our bed and a cushion, like a cushion off of a lawn furniture thing. And that front cabin was our grandson's bed, okay?
Yeah.
And it worked wonders for us to be able to have a third person. But I don't know if you could do something else, Hank.
So was that loom, or was that just something that you guys made up, that bed?
Yeah, so the chairs, of course, turn, right? They turn,
Okay.
they swivel all the way, or you can have them face one another. But all that we did on our back shelf behind our seabed, right? We just had a board that we used as almost like a mattress spring. And an extra, like a long cushion that you could pick up at a home and garden store. And we placed those on the two front seats.
Okay.
That were facing one another.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. I'm aware of people doing mods like that. There's also a company, I think, called Loom that we've seen at the Overlanding shows that has a similar fix to that. That's kind of like a blow up kind of bed that you blow it up and it fits between those two.
Yeah, that's right. We looked at that. Of course, it was several $100s. And,
Yeah.
And it fits in the middle, and it's a cushion. It's almost like a T. It fits in there. But anyway, what we did, and then it wasn't permanent, and we don't take that with us on every trip, of course. But for that trip, it worked.
Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure, because I think in that comment you said B plus, so I'm not exactly sure which you're talking about. So like our vans that we have, the Beyond is just a B. It doesn't rise to the B plus occasion quite. So I think it would be different. But if you want to hit us up, like do a DM or something like that, I could maybe take a closer look and help you out with that. I'm the Brown also said, he's a comedian. He says, I'm not sure I want to see a video of Hank taking a sponge bath. Yeah, I don't want to see it. And Lola says, don't worry. What did she say? Don't worry, the sponge bath video will be tasteful. Okay.
Hank could be the reason I bought my van, and maybe the reason I sell it. I don't know.
Oh, good one. All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, let's see what. Okay, Carla Daniels says, hey guys, need to know when your next show is. My son will attend. So I believe that question's pointed at Sunshine State RV. Typically, they're at the Tampa show, and then they do Ocala. But they are going to there's a whole bunch of different shows they have going on right now. So I would suggest checking out Sunshine State RV's website. So Lola and I do stuff with them. But, if you check out their website, you'll see what the schedule is. I know they're going to Overland East in Virginia, and that's coming up, I think, in October. So, either the end of, I think it's maybe end of September, early October, something like that they'll be there. But there's a boat show going on that they're going to, another show that's coming up in Texas, and those I don't have, precise stuff on. Russ says, Hank, you did a great job showing the difference between the Beyond Nova and the Galleria. Thank you. I think that's been a couple of years now. We probably need to redo that video, because we've got like a new Sprinter is out there, and a new ProMaster is out there as well. So I'm sure people would be interested in that. I don't know if you're interested. Are you still looking, or are you just happy with your van and you've got other interests, or are you always looking to see what's coming up next, kind of a thing?
No, less than I did before, for sure.
Hmm.
It's almost like I don't know. It's again, I'll equate it to cars. I mean, you kind of like to know the
Hmm.
newest thing that's out there. I find it entertaining. It's certainly informing.
Hmm.
Um, but so I'll still watch many of those videos. But now what I've found is I'm looking more for, hey, where are places that people have gone? What are some of those camping RV lifestyle hacks and stuff like that? Or getting my vehicle serviced. So it just depends where you are on the continuum. But I think once you kind of get hooked and look at those things, at least for me, I'll always be looking at what's the next feature, the next bell and whistle, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think something I'd like to ask you before there's two questions. One Lola wants to ask you before we wrap up, but for me, in this vein, when you're looking at this stuff, what would you like to see in the future, Rob, as an owner? I'm very curious to know. Like, I know what I want to see, but I'm curious to know what the other folks like yourself out there want to see in the future with these vans.
Oh boy, that's an interesting question. Probably some additional modifications that give space. I actually am intrigued by some of the smaller builders that come up with just these incredible designs.
Okay.
So, I'd like to continue to see these folks. Maybe like, so for example, today, people like Coachmen and Winnebago, they might have 3 or 4 standard designs. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to see them offer 5,
Mm-hmm.
and give a little bit more of an ability for mass customization, where we
Okay.
can tweak these things. Certainly interested in the hybrid, the electric stuff. I don't know. I have yet to watch one of your latest videos, but I still have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling that's a ways out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm not looking for that so much. And then the only other thing is more redundancy on some of the systems, even
Okay.
more simplification. There's a few folks out there. Russ Johnson's one of them. Who these are tinkerers, can fix, and Russ can fix anything. Uh, I think some of the future models they're going to have to reconsider, and the people that are buying the next generation and stuff, they're looking for even simpler solutions than maybe what's out there today, and maybe some more redundancy.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think you are going to find, um, you know, that the builders out there are also simplifying, because I think they see a lot of the complaints that people have about those things and making it tougher. You want it to work. I think they're very close. What we have now is very close to perfection. You were talking about electric. I think it's cool, but I think electric's just something we're getting forced into because the manufacturers have a mandate to make electric things. So that's really not that far away, believe it or not. But it's kind of a thing that we're getting forced into, and I don't think they considered with those laws folks like us who are traveling around. So in terms of range and stuff like that, it's not there. So
Mhm.
a lot of the other things are, but that's I think that's good. Interesting to think about space. How can you maximize on space in something like this? Joy B says, I'll get this comment in. We need the price to go down. We need to not cause a house or two houses, two small houses. So the price needs to come down. Yeah, I think that is the tough part about a Class B, right? Very expensive. We're looking at house money. You can literally get a really big RV for the same thing. There's the trade-off on the convenience that you have over the bigger RV. But prices, what do you think about those? You think they're coming down?
Yeah, I hope they do. I think they need to. I will say the flip of that is they do tend to hold their value,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only thing that kind of softens the blow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's on one hand I'm saying, hey, I'd like to have more model choices and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I know what a lot of these folks are suffering right now. They're still feeling the effects of supply chain hiccups, and
Yep.
before they add a new modification, they got to make sure that these things are available. And as
Mm-hmm.
many vans as they build, they pale in comparison to some of the other suppliers that make automobiles and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I would like to see some more price elasticity, some more sensitivity, maybe something for more of an entry level users. And I will give a shout out to Winnebago because I think some of their vans, like the Solus,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think they're intending to try to do with the Solus. Of maybe you're a young family, you have 2, 3 small children. Well, you put them up top; they
Mm-hmm.
can camp up top.
Yeah, and a
I'd
pop
like to,
top. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd like to see more consideration given to people who are not, old folks like us. They're
Mm-hmm.
different life stage, and that could maybe get into this at an earlier lower price point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, even there's people coming in younger and people, I'm like 51. So, there's folks getting more active in this, or even older folks that are more active, and I think there needs to be better choices. Because on the overlanding side, it's even more expensive, believe it or not. If you're getting an overlanding van because you want to go off-road a little bit and do that kind of stuff, in a lot of cases you're looking at very close to 300,000, if not over that.
Yeah, and of course they're going after a younger demographic. So maybe
Yeah.
they need to offer like what Home Depot does, the workshop where you kind of come and build your own and swing the hammer. And,
Right.
I don't know, man, could be.
You listen. Unfortunately, we're gonna kind of like go into this downturn in the economy, and listen, I don't think anyone's gonna be happy about that. But one of the things I think that will come out of that, we'll see the high demand come down, and maybe the prices come down, and more options out there. I've seen kits as well. If you want to, just buy, and these vans are expensive before they're built into Class Bs. So you're looking at $60,000-$70,000 for these vans in a lot of cases, just as raw vans. But you can get kits and then build something, maybe not as complicated as what you and I have. You can build that, and then if you ever wanted to sell it, you could take those kits out, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
happening.
I tell people, don't be worried or afraid of a used one. I mean, these are commercial vehicles, so they're built to last a little longer, be more durable than the cars we drive. And again, if you have a good dealer like a Sunshine State nearby, have them check it out. But because there's a lot of people that will do this for a few years, and they're done for a variety of reasons. So don't be afraid to maybe consider something that has a few miles on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last question here, I know we're past our time here, so thanks to everyone that's hanging out with us. Smash those thumbs ups. I'm going to wrap it up after this. Lola says, what prep considerations has Rob done to head out to Nova Scotia? You guys are going on a great adventure. So, and people could follow you on your YouTube channel and see all of this. What kind of preps have you made?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So Amy is my navigator. She's done all the route planning. I will just say this, if you've been following anything about Nova Scotia lately, these poor folks have been burdened by first the fires and then record flooding. They had 3 months worth of rain in one night. Wow. We've had to completely replan our route, to almost the reverse, because we had a few fixed dates where we were taking a ferry, or we committed to a boondocker's welcome place, something like that, or a campsite, I mean. But at any rate, we've had to do that. We are traveling with another couple, another Beyond family. So we have two of us. We just so happen to have two different cell phone providers. Okay. And we've talked about, like, okay, what kind of toolkit do you bring? What do we bring? We're making sure our maps are up to date, all the normal stuff that you would do. But, we normally put a lot of time and effort up front so we can really relax and freewheel it while we're on our trip. So fingers crossed, you can follow us on our channel, and hopefully we'll avoid the fires and the floods.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you do. I'm sure you guys will have a great adventure out there. One quick question I'm sneaking in for I'm the Brown, because this is actually a question. He says, do either of you see people towing small travel trailers to add more space or storage? What do you think about that, Rob?
I have. It's been only on occasion, and I mean, and the Beyond absolutely can. Okay, it's equipped to do it. If I say the weight ratings and stuff like that, I'm sure I'll get it wrong.
Yeah, I think it's about 5,000, but don't take my word on that either.
I think so. And but I've also seen people, rather than tow something, what they'll do is they'll have a stowaway box or something like that on the back. There's a lot of creative solutions, but it's harder to park, of course, like that. But it's absolutely something we've seen. We've actually seen somebody tow a glider plane.
Wow. Yes.
A glider plane.
Yeah. At some point, you guys will see a picture of me towing my tractor. Because I had to get a tractor. We've got about 6 acres here, and I've got to take care of it myself. And we got a tractor, and I'm gonna have to tow that thing. So the van is gonna be put to that purpose. But my advice on that one is, I would say, listen, carry less stuff if you can. If you could do it, take less stuff. The adventure is not all the stuff that you could bring with you necessarily, even though you want to bring the things that you need. So, that's like Wayne C says, if you tow small trailers or for more space, you might as well buy a bigger motorhome. So there you go. Listen, Rob, I hope you're going to come back because this was a fun conversation. It went very quickly. Please do come back, and I would encourage everyone out there to subscribe to Beyond the Adventure. Lola and I have subscribed to it. There's some very good content on there, but I'll give you a chance to plug that and the other things you have before we get out, Rob.
Oh, that's enough of a plug. I just want to say, hey, thanks to you and Lola for everything that you guys do. Continue to do it, and we really appreciate it. And for everybody watching, thanks for tuning in, and happy travels to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the support, Rob. We couldn't do it without folks like yourself and Amy. All right, guys, we are out of here. We love and appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for joining us. We're out of here. Rob, you stay right there. See you guys. Peace.